Welcome to season 4 of OSDIA Interviews Live. I'm Mark DeNunzio, joining you from Pensacola Beach, Florida. Please allow me to introduce my co-host, Dr. Mary Kovach from Ohio, and a member of the production team. Hi, Mary, great to see you.
Great to see you, Mark.
We are joined by Joe Sciami, a national past president of OSDIA and the president of the Sons of Italy Foundation, the charitable arm of the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy. Good evening, Joe.
Good evening.
Also with us from the Commission for Social Justice, the anti-defamation arm of OSDIA, is Robert Ferrito. Good to see you, Robert.
Great to be here, Mark. Thanks.
This evening, we are very fortunate to have a true leader in the Italian-American community, educator, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and advocate for Christopher Columbus. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce our guest, Angelo Vivolo. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, my friends, Mary, Joe, Robert. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you tonight. Everyone on this call are just esteemed individuals who do everything that I do and probably do it better to promote our Italian culture and heritage, and also, of course, to preserve the legacy of Christopher Columbus. That is our goal and our mission. And I thank you for having me tonight. And once again, I'm here to answer any questions that any of you may have.
Thank you. We're so happy that you could take time away from your busy schedule. I know it's busy, and join us tonight, just a matter of days before Columbus Day. So let me just get right into it. Before we get into all your affiliations, I would like to give the audience a brief overview of your career. You started your professional career as a teacher serving the public schools in Far Rockaway, South Ozone Park in Queens, and in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, rising to the Dean of Special Intervention Program for high-risk, academically underprepared teenage boys. After teaching nearly a decade, you joined your family's restaurant business and embarked on a 42-year career in the hospitality industry as an acclaimed restaurateur and owner of 5 highly respected Manhattan restaurants. Please tell us how you went through these roles.
Well, you know, as you all know, in Italian family, no one says no. There's no job that's not yours. And the funny story is that when it was my grandfather's restaurant, and we lived above the restaurant. And we all worked in the restaurant. We all wore white aprons, and there was no job that we didn't do. And thank God for that, because that's how I learned the business. After teaching for nearly 10 years, and I loved teaching, and I loved the young people, and it was a kick. Every time I went to church on Sunday, I'd see some of my students, and they'd look at me, and it was a privilege. However, I wanted to make some money. So I left teaching, and I said to my father, I'm going to open a restaurant. I said, what are you, crazy? He said, you're a professional. You're a teacher. You can't do that. I said, Dad, I'm going to do it. And yeah, I guess the rest is history. I opened 5 restaurants. And the ironic story is that one of my restaurants on East 74th Street between Park and Lexington and Manhattan was an old brownstone. In the top 2 floors of the restaurant was my apartment. And my wife and I raised our 3 children there. And so my kids were all raised as I was above a restaurant, except it was a different location. And they went to different schools. You know, I went to public schools, they went to private schools. But I often tell them they weren't as lucky as I was to be born and raised in Brooklyn, because when I was there, it was a great community, great Italian neighborhood, tremendous friendships. And it is what it is. But here I am, and I'm very proud to be here with you.
Governor Cuomo appointed you as the co-chair of the Francis Xavier Cabrini, or more commonly known as Mother Cabrini Memorial Commission in 2019. What were some of the achievements of that commission, please, sir?
Oh, Joe Sciami was on that commission as well. I was the co-chair with Bishop DeNunzio. And I tell you, we had 20 of the most incredible people on that commission. They all contributed. They were wonderful people. There was no egos, no personal agendas. We worked together. We looked at different sites. We looked at different designs, different designers and sculptors. And we all came to the same conclusion at the end. And I am so delighted of what the decision that was made and where Mother Cabrini statue is downtown Manhattan. it's just incredible. I would hope that all of your listeners, if you come to New York City, you must visit the Mother Cabrini statue that's downtown. It's just wonderful.
Thank you. Mary, your turn.
Thanks, Mark. Angelo, thanks for joining us tonight. To start, you are the chairman of the board for the Columbus Citizens Foundation, the president of the National Columbus Education Foundation, and the president of the Columbus Heritage Coalition. In fact, the governor of New York commended your advocacy and lifelong commitment to equality and justice for all. What have been some of your proudest moments in these capacities?
You know, Mary, I have to share it with you, with Joe, with Bob, who I know so well. I only do what all of you do. We try to promote our Italian heritage and culture. We try to preserve the legacy of Christopher Columbus. We try to correct the injustices, the lies that have been said over the years about Columbus that have never been confronted, but now, thank God, we are united in that effort to confront them. You know, I have so many fond memories of being with my friends and colleagues and doing what we can on behalf of our community. And I hope and I pray, really pray, that we can change the minds and the hearts of others, non-Italians, about Christopher Columbus and about his mission and what he meant to the Italian American community. You know, it's said that if you offend one culture, you offend all cultures. And I strongly believe in that. That's why we have to get that message out. We have to get that message out to all of those you know, the Columbus Heritage Coalition, we have a little bit of a saying. It says, drop the hate and seek the truth. And that's all we want. We want a fair deal, people to learn the truth about Columbus. And I mean it most sincerely. I admire everyone on this call because you all work in your own capacities, as I do, to promote our goals, our mission. And it really is not only for us. I have 5 grandchildren. I want them to know that they have a rich heritage as Italian Americans. So that's my goal, and that's why I do what I do, and that's why we all do what we do. Thank you, Mary.
Sure. Well, we appreciate everything you do. When Pope Benedict came to New York in 2009, you played an instrumental role in his visit. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's funny. I've said that the most incredible experience in the restaurant business, I've served so many people. I'm going to be boastful and tell you that because I'm a big Yankee fan. Unfortunately, they lost last night. But Joe DiMaggio was a friend of mine. I know him for 10 years before he passed away. However, there was nothing in my life that could compare to serving both Pope Benedict and Pope Francis. My wife corrects me. She says, how about me? I said, after the marriage of 44 years, it's Pope Benedict and Pope Francis. They were both incredible people, saintly people. Pope Benedict we served him and both of them at the home of DeNunzio, which is on 72nd Street between Madison and Fifth Avenue, and it is diplomatic quarters. So we had no restrictions in serving. Outside the residency, we had tremendous restrictions, but inside we kind of did what we wanted in terms of serving them. And I was, well, I'm not close to you guys right now, but I was beside the popes throughout their entire stay. We served them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'll tell you my my most fun, well, I enjoyed every moment, every second. But I remember one day before the Holy Father, Pope Francis went out because he would have breakfast, then he would go out, he'd come back, have lunch, then he would go out, and then he'd come back, have dinner, then he would meet people. And you know, when he didn't meet celebrities, he met, you know, everyday people. And I remember at one afternoon before going out, he came into the kitchen, and there was Lydia Bastianich, who was my co-sponsor of this event. She was in the kitchen, I was in the dining room. And he said to me, you know, what conversation am I gonna have with the Holy Father? So I said, you know, in Italian to him, that my children went to Jesuit schools. And he smiled and he looked at me and he put his hand on my shoulder. I was like, want to melt. And he said, in Italian, I'm going to try to translate for you. He said that they have the sickness, but I say the mind now of the Jesuits. In other words, it's a they take over their thinking, and it's true. My oldest son, Frank, named after my dad, he doesn't want to go to a mass unless it's a Jesuit priest because the homilies are not good. So, that's just the way it is. But it was the most incredible experience of my life, one that I will never forget. And when I see you in New York, I'm going to show you a bunch of photos.
That sounds great.
It was really outstanding. Thank you for asking me that question.
Absolutely. Robert, what question do you have for Angelo?
Angelo, we've worked together for some time now, and one of the things I think many people don't realize, and you got touched upon it briefly, they don't realize how united all our Italian American organizations are, specifically around Columbus. Now that we're in October and getting ready to celebrate Columbus Day, can you share some of the wins we've had this year?
Sure. I think the biggest win is just what you said, Bob. The Italian American community is united. Whether it be under Campo Mayo or be under the Columbus Heritage Coalition, we're all united. We have one mind, and we're thinking of what we need to do to promote and preserve our culture and heritage, and not to have it marginalized by someone else. I think for me personally, the biggest win for me was preserving the Columbus statue or Columbus Circle. I made an application to the city, and the city never reacts very quickly, but within a week they refused to give it the status of the status to be there. And then I made an application, I think it's like 60 or 65-page application to the state to get the statue put into the National Registry of Monuments, of Historic Monuments, and the State Registry. And by the grace of God and by the help of Andrew Cuomo, I have to believe that he helped us move along, we were able to achieve that. And I don't think that anybody, anyone is going to touch that statue. I think it would be because the statue at Columbus Circle is now part of the National Registry. It's also part of the State Registry as a historical monument. And God willing, it will be there in perpetuity. And I really, truly believe in my heart of hearts that that's what it will be. It is on city property. That's not good. But, if we can get one of our friends to buy the property, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, that I would say, thank you for asking that question, Bob.
And you were recently nominated by Governor Andrew Cuomo, and we were ratified by the New York State Senate to be a trustee of CUNY governing board, the CUNY governing board. Some thought that your views on Columbus would be an impediment to you attaining that position. And you were quoted as saying the best way to deal with Columbus is to provide education, to provide knowledge, and to provide the truth. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, Bob, you quoted me exactly word for word. When I went before the Commission on Higher Education, the Committee on Higher Education, they said, you're Italian, you're going to be only for the Italians. I said, I'm a very proud Italian American. I said, however, I'm here for all the students. I'm here for all cultures. I'm here for the faculty. That's what I believe in. I said, I believe in respect. I said to them in reference to Columbus, because they wanted to get me on Columbus. I said, I believe in education, in communication, in open dialogue. And I said, with that, we can come to some agreement, I said, and that's really what I'm here for. I'll be honest with you, Bob, I never said that, well, I want to support Columbus because I know he didn't have slaves, because I know he didn't to commit genocide. If I would have went that road, they would have jumped on my case, so to speak, and tried to infuriate me. And I wouldn't let that happen. So I kept on staying true blue. I have to tell you one quick story if I can. There was one Board of Trustee member who wrote a letter to every member of the Board of Trustees, the 14 of them, it's 15 now with me, and to every member of two committees, the Committee on Higher Education, the Committee on Finance, saying that I was unfit to be a trustee because I didn't reflect the student body, I didn't reflect the faculty, I didn't reflect their mission, their goals. And they said to me, how do you react to this person? I said, well, first of all, this person doesn't know me. I wish that I would have an opportunity to see this person face to face. This is all true. I'm giving you word for word. I said, you know, my father was born in Italy. My mother was the only child in her family not born in Italy, born in this country. I went to CUNY at night. I went to Brooklyn College and I went to Hunter College. My brother and my sister both went to CUNY. And I taught for nearly 10 years in the public school system in high school in South Ozone Park, Queens. I was there for 4 years until they closed the school down because of violence. So I don't know how I'm not qualified, but you know, once again, I wish, and I had to say it with a smile, because if I didn't, you know, they would have come at me and they would have tried to, as I say, antagonize me to say something stupid, which thank God I did not. Anyway, it's as I said to them, and I repeat all the time, it was an honor to be nominated, and it's a privilege to serve. And I'm going to do the best job I can on behalf of everybody. Of course, I'm going to look out for Italian Americans, because unfortunately, for too many years, as you know, Joe, Shami, and Bob, there hasn't been an Italian on the board of trustees of CUNY for 20 years. I was the first Italian. I guess it's an honor, but also it's a challenge. 25 schools, a budget of $3.9 billion, and everything comes through CUNY, through the board. You know, it has to be approved for whatever the expenditures are and so forth. So yeah, I'm there and I'm happy to serve, and I'll keep, you'll be the first, Bob, you know, I'm going to tell you everything that's happening. You know, I give that report to you and Joe and everybody else on our committees. Sorry.
Great,
Yes.
Angelo, great, terrific.
Thank you.
We're really all proud of you. Joe, you have
Well,
any?
you're very kind.
Yes.
This is mutual. I'm proud to be with you people, with all of you, and I'm just one person, and you what you do, Bob, what you do every day is another letter you're sending out to somebody about what's going on. I mean, the latest one I think now is Massachusetts. They want, the state government wants to change Columbus Day. You know, if I can go back for a minute, I'm sorry. In 2017, we created at the Columbus Foundation, I did a study. I had paid for a study, and at that time, there was over 150 places in the country that either did not celebrate or did not recognize Columbus. It was just amazing. And I have to tell you that I'm guilty, because for years, a good friend of ours, John Cavalli, said, you know, Angelo, someday they're going to challenge Columbus Day and they're going to take it. I said, never going to happen, never going to happen. And lo and behold, unfortunately, you know, I was asleep at the wheel, as they say, but now I'm not. And nor, like you said earlier, or Joe said earlier, I don't remember who said it, but the Italian, I think it was Robert, the Italian American community is united. We're working together. We're working together to do what's right for our culture, our heritage, and as I said, for the legacy of Christopher Columbus.
Angelo, well, you really are a public servant, to say the least. I mean, to work as a trustee in the CUNY system. So congratulations for that. But I want to kind of go back to the role that, as you know, the Sons of Italy, through its both arms, let's say the left, the right arm, we have the Commission for Social Justice, which Robert Ferrito now heads as its president, and I now as the president of the Sons of Italy Foundation. And I know we've been together from the start of these discussions. If you remember, we had a quick lunch one late afternoon on a Friday with Robert's predecessor, Kevin Kyra, who was then the president of the CSJ. And we talked about this dream, and we needed money. And so, as you know, 6 organizations contributed. Order Sons and Daughters of Italy was right there from the start. And we came up with 50,000 from each of those 6 organizations, including, of course, the Giambelli Foundation, of which you are its president. Why do you feel that it was so important for us to come together to establish this national educational foundation? Because really, that is the purpose of it. It's a typical 501c3. People have tax deductions. What was the importance in your mind at that time?
Then and now, I believe that education is so important. It is so important to educate the public, to give the true story of Columbus. You know, we can go to court, and I believe that, you know, court case is important. I am a full believer in political action. I mean, as you know, I've tried to create bonds with the next new mayor coming into New York City, Eric Adams, and the governor Hochul here in New York. But we have to change public opinion. The only way to change public opinion is through education. And we felt, you were there, we felt that the 5 major organizations in the country had the largest amount of membership, number one, and also could afford to put the money together to promote what we believe in. And I still believe that the National Columbus Education Foundation's most important role is to educate and to try to get the public to change their opinion about Columbus. Because without the public behind us, it's really going to be very, very difficult. And I think we can achieve that. I think if we keep pounding the truth, if we keep presenting it in the right way, not putting any other, I don't see this us against Indigenous people. I really don't. I think that's an excuse that some people like to use. I really see it as us providing the truth about Columbus and about Italian-American contributions and so forth. There may be some groups that are agitated on purpose, Indigenous people, Indigenous groups, but I really think that, we have to stand high, present ourselves well, talk intelligently, have professional, have historians who are respected, and who they are, we all know who they are, to speak up and to have their words known, especially non-Italian historians. I think that's really, really important. And I have to say that in addition to the 5 major organizations, and God bless the Jim Bailey Foundation, I was able to have the trustees approve of a $50,000 donation. We also had the Knights of Columbus that gave us $20,000. So we need them as well. They're active, as you all know. They created that wonderful video, Courage and Conviction, and I think it's a wonderful example. But we have to do more. We have to do more, and we have to get to the grassroots. We have to get to the grassroots to get people to understand, to believe, to be educated. Education is the answer. And as I say, I believe in legislation. I know we have a lawsuit in Philadelphia. I'm supported. I support all of those actions. But at the end of the day, it's the public that we have to convince, and we have to do it through education. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, but that's what happens when you're an old man.
Before I go to Justin in a minute, I think that one of the important things the audience needs to know, today was a big win, at least in my mind. Today, early this morning, the Catholic League released a statement in total defense of Columbus, quoting much of the work that we've done. And so I really think that was landmark. And that's what, when you talk about education, you have now gone to a major entity in the Catholic Church, not necessarily under the aegis of the bishops, but this is an outsider who pumps out this stuff regularly. So you've got now another group after you. And I think that other ethnic groups, as we educate them, I think that's going to be the key and solution to all of this.
We have to, I'm sorry, Joe, you're 100% right. We have to bring more other cultures and ethnicities under our umbrella. Because as I say all the time, you offend one culture, you offend everyone's culture. Today it's us, tomorrow it's someone else, And I think that we need to work harder at bringing those people in. Look, we know we have most Italian Americans. There are some that are not with us, but we have most. So it's really important for us to reach out and to bring other people under our umbrella. I have to say, if we're talking about wins, I have to say we did get one big win this year. I negotiated a contract with ABC Channel 7 in New York. It's the largest telecast channel in the country from ABC. And last year, they would not allow us, and I fought tooth and nail, they would not allow us to say the Columbus Citizens Foundation presents the Columbus Day Parade. They insisted, went back and forth, and finally they run the show, and they said that no. And so they did it as culture and heritage. It wasn't Columbus Day. But when we had the telecast, we were able to say Happy Columbus Day and so forth. And Governor Cuomo was our Grand Marshal. And Dr. Fauci was one of our honorees. We actually have a scholarship in his name. But this year, I met with the new president of ABC. His name is Chad Matthews. Nice guy, very nice guy. And I, told him what I felt. I'm an honest guy. I said, really, last year I didn't feel that we were appropriately represented. I said, we're doing the Columbus Day parade. Well, he didn't give me any commitment. It was very cordial. I was cordial with him. There was a bunch of his colleagues around, and we spoke. And then I got a call from a person who runs that parade, great guy, Jefferson Wilson. He said, Mr. Vivolo, he said, what are we going to do this year? They want us to present 3 logos to go with Columbus Citizens Foundation. I said, Jefferson, you present them only one. You tell them we want the Columbus Day Parade. The Columbus Citizens Foundation presents the Columbus Day Parade. Miracle of God, really. I figured if I'm not going to negotiate, I don't want to negotiate against ourselves. P.S. They agreed. So this year, it's the Columbus Citizens Foundation presents the Columbus Day Parade. And if you're in the metropolitan area, you'll see that they're promoting it on their channel now, and they show that it's the Columbus Day Parade. So I think that's a win for us. And, hopefully we get more wins like that. Every little one helps. You got to build upon each win, and hopefully, we will eventually achieve the success that we want.
Justin, do we have any comments or questions from our audience?
We absolutely do. They're streaming in. Before we get into some of the heavier topics, we have a question that we usually save for our chefs, the guests that we have on the show. But since you were in the restaurant industry for 42 years, this question comes straight from our national president, Bob Bianchi. And he was wondering, is it gravy or sauce?
I get that. I've heard that a lot. Okay, I'm going to make a lot of enemies, I think, out there, because growing up, young people, I think everyone's heard the word gravy. It's not. It's sauce. It's not gravy. Sauce is totally different than gravy. Gravy is usually has meats, and it usually has a long cooking time. A little secret: the best tomato sauce is cooked in less than 20 minutes. If you're cooking your tomato sauce in more than 20 minutes, then I'm sorry, you're losing it. It's really not going to be. Should be bright red, using, of course, a good tomato like a San Marzano tomato. That's a high quality tomato. But whatever tomato you use, if you're cooking it for more than 20 minutes, then I'm sorry, you're going to end up with a dark red sauce, which is not what is preferable.
Well, I'm sure much to the dismay of Bob, we have that's one for Team Sauce.
Okay.
So Bob was also wondering, as such a successful person, you sit on all these boards, you're the chairman of the Columbus Citizens Foundation. What is the most important aspect of mindset that has worked in your life?
I'm sorry, say that last question again, forgive me. What is the most important
aspect of mindset that has worked for you in your life?
Well, I think, like all good Italians, I believe in family, God, and country. And that's what's ruled my life. And hard work. That's what my parents did, and that's what I'm sure your parents and everyone else on this call and the people listening. And I think if we stay true to our roots, what really is what we believe in, and we're a strong believer in family, we're a strong believer in God, and I know Italian Americans are a strong believer in this great country that we live in. My dad was born in Italy, came here as a teenager with his family. He shined shoes, he did whatever it was to support. He married a wonderful woman, my mother, and raised 3 children, all went to college, all successful. Because we believe in what I just said: family, God, and country, and hard work.
So faith has always played a pretty important role in your career.
Absolutely. I believe in prayer.
Wonderful. Well, you mentioned on it, I'll jump in with one last question. You mentioned briefly Philadelphia, and I know the Columbus Citizens Foundation is based in New York, and you guys hold the parade in New York. But Vince DeGregorio wrote in, he's a member of ours from South Philly, and he was wondering, how familiar you were with the struggle that South Philadelphia has had with their Columbus statue and Columbus Day.
I'm very familiar. There's the 1492 club there that supports the statue. And of course, the attorney Bocchetto is doing has a lawsuit for civil rights of Italian Americans. We're rooting for him to win, because of a win there could mean have impact throughout the country. It's not an easy road, but it's something that needs to be done. And hopefully at the end of the day, he will be victorious on behalf of the Italian American community. I mean, what's happening in Philadelphia, Bob Frido could clue you in on all of this. I'm sure you're all aware. It's either Trenton, New Jersey, or it's Syracuse, New York. I mean, there are places, New Haven, Connecticut. It's mind-boggling what's going on, and it has to turn around, and it will turn around if we're consistent with our message. If we say the truth, if we present an intelligent and informed dialogue for people, then I believe they will come, and eventually, this unfortunate last number of years where the statue's been damaged and where they've taken away the Columbus Day celebration will turn around. I'm a believer in it. I really do. And we can't give up. We have to keep going, and we have to be consistent, and we have to be united. Very important.
I'm going to toss to Mary for a quick last round here. Mary, go ahead. And
Sure. Thanks, Mark. So Angelo, you serve on the Board of Trustees for John Cabot University in Rome. And as the president of the Francesco and Mary Giambelli Foundation, you lead a philanthropic organization that supports cultural programs in New York City schools and has funded more than $3 million in scholarships. Can you please talk about those programs and what the impact has been on the children?
Well, I'm so proud of the Francesco and Mary Giambelli Foundation. I was a dear friend of Francesco and his Frank and his wife Mary until they passed away. Frank passed away it was 93, and Mary was 99, and so they lived long lives, and they were tremendously successful, and they left quite a bit of money for good causes. And with Giambelli Foundation, for example, in the past year, we supported so many food banks because people needed food, and we supported. I can go over. I can't remember all of them, to tell you the truth, but we supported quite a few. In scholarship, every year we give $100,000 to the Columbus Citizens Foundation for the scholarship program. To date, we've given the scholarship program at the Columbus Citizens Foundation $1.3 million alone. We support scholarships to the culinary school because that was their business. So the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, we have scholarship program there, $1 million that we've given there in scholarships. And we have supported, of course, there's a wonderful program in New York City of 6 schools that were taken out of the Catholic school system and went under a foundation, and it's called Futures in Education. And we support these schools because they work independently. They hire the teachers, they fix the schools, they create the curriculum. In particular, there's one school in Harlem, which I visit every year. I used to visit even more frequently before, and they just do an incredible job. It's I can't tell you the joy it is in being able to give. I wish it were my money, but it's the foundation's money, and we're happy to do it. And by the way, I have 2 wonderful trustees, Justine Tenney and Claudio DeVellis. They're just wonderful individuals, and we collaborate very well together. And we make decisions as to where the money should go. And we also support cultural events like Joe Shami and the Miucci Museum in Staten Island. We try to do the best we can on behalf of the legacy of Francesco and Mary Giambelli. You asked me about John Cabot University. Well, that's a special place. It's in Trastevere, Rome. It's like the Greenwich Village of Rome. How I got on the board was a great friend who became a board member when I was president of the Columbus Foundation, Frank Guarini, Congressman Frank Guarini, and he gave the Columbus Foundation $1 million to support scholarships for kids who want to study abroad. And he said, Angelo, I'm giving the $1 million, but I want you to be on the board. I said, sure, Frank, anything you want. I'd be happy to serve. And I'll tell you, it's been a delight. I go to Rome at least once a year. We have board meeting there, board meeting here, and then there's graduation in May. We were very blessed. The president of the school's name is Franco Provicello. And believe it or not, we're starting this term with 1,650 students. It's a miracle. It's a miracle that we have these students coming back. They get an American diploma, by the way. And it's an international school, but a majority of the kids come from the States, who are what we call study abroad. They go for 6 months or a year, and then they go back to the US. Greatest experience. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't have that experience because they get to visit all of Europe. You know, maybe now with COVID, a little more difficult, but they get that opportunity. So it's a wonderful place. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Robert, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have one final question, Angelo. What can organizations do really to support the legacy of Christopher Columbus? What can organizations do to support the legacy of Christopher Columbus?
What can they do? I'm sorry, Bob.
What
Forgive me.
can other organizations do to support the legacy of Christopher Columbus?
Well, if they're Italian American organizations, they can go on to the website of Compomayo or the website of the National Columbus Education Foundation. I mean, or Columbus Heritage Coalition. All of these, and you, the CJ, you have the best explanation of why we should support Columbus. I know Lou Gallo reminded me the other day. If you could repeat, Bob, what is that particular section that he was referring to? Where
about diversity?
Yeah, about diversity. And it was about Columbus in terms of all of the things that counter the negative negative narrative that goes around Columbus.
Well,
but bottom line, I'm sorry. Bottom line is, go to one of the websites of any one of the leading organizations, whether it be your organization, Sons and Daughters, or it be the NEOF, or it be Columbus Citizen Foundation, or the Columbus Heritage Coalition, the Columbus National Education Foundation. These are major organizations, and we've all done our work in terms of trying to preserve Columbus. I'm particularly proud of the Columbus Heritage Coalition. We have a short, it's not a video, it's an action comment about the 10 truths about Columbus. But I have to say that Mary did a phenomenal video. Oh my God, I love that video, Mary, that you did. And that's one that should be on everybody's website. You know, it really is informative, and it's 90 seconds, but it's chock full of information, and it's upbeat. We got to be upbeat. We can't be, attacking and this and that. It's really good. So congratulations, Mary, on that.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. It's truth. I always say the truth.
Joe, you have any final questions?
I think the message to all of us is really to get on one of those sites. I know I did it the other day, made my little contribution a number of times, but the other day I did it right away as soon as we were requested. By the way, for the general audience, as well as the interviewers, we meet every week on a Wednesday. Robert, myself, Angelo, as well as another group of 5 or 6 people from the different organizations, and we plot out the activities for the week. So I think we are going to be ready, but I think the most positive thing that we can do is support the entities that are fighting for it, whether it is the National Columbus Educational Foundation, that's the word that Angelo stressed, education, or the Columbus Heritage Coalition from the New York State area, or whether it's going to be the Conference of Presidents of major Italian American groups. We've all got to do something. We've got 16 to 20 million Italian Americans. We've got to stick together. That's the solution. That's really the life of Angelo Vivolo, the way I see it. He's somebody I've known now for probably a generation, because I went to all those dinners at the Columbus Citizen Foundation. And I remember the 1,500 people. I remember the flags in the wonderful Waldorf Astoria, which we miss dearly. And of course, we've been going to the Hilton, but Saturday, I'm going to be there with you at the 583 with Bob, as well as Tony Naccarato and others from New York City.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I should
I think it's going to be a banner night, but you are the man tonight. You're making this happen, and we all owe you from the Sons of Italy a great deal of respect.
Well, I'm flattered by those comments, but right back at you, Joe, and everybody on this call, Bob and Mary and Mark. It's a team effort. We all do what we can in the best interest of our community. There's no one person who is doing more than the other. You all know only too well what it takes to make it happen, and it's really everybody doing what they can do in the best interest of our community, and that's what goes on. And I appreciate your kind accolades. However, I'm just one guy who believes, like all of you believe, in what our rich Italian American culture and heritage is all about, and preserving Columbus and Columbus Day and statues.
Thank you. Justin, if someone's interested in joining OSDIA, where can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. They can head straight to www.osia.org, hit the member tab. You can find your nearest local lodge or sign up directly online as an at-large member. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at nationaloffice@osia.org and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. And if you're interested in preserving Columbus Day, please go to our website, www.osia.org, and click on the CSJ tab. That's the Commission for Social Justice. You can make a donation there. You can learn more about Columbus and Columbus Day.
Thank you, Justin. Well, that concludes our show. And thank you very much to our esteemed guest, Angelo Vivolo, for joining us tonight. And thank you to all of our hosts and our moderator, Justin. Tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time for our next episode of OSDIA Interviews Live. And have a great Columbus Day, everyone. And again, thank you to everyone. And Angelo, very nice to meet you.